Hello and welcome to Consciously Awesome Living. I am your host, Sheila Applegate, manifestation life coach and the creator of Consciously Awesome Adventures in Manifestation. And we are focusing this season on really helping you to design the life that you desire most because you deserve that life. We've been talking about different aspects of manifesting or co-creating. And today we're going to talk about the importance of emotions, embracing your emotions. This is a topic that is pretty dear to me. My early career and my education is all in psychotherapy, and play therapy. So it's been always a part of me to focus on emotions. And one of my friends, Daphne Rose Kingma, once said that emotions are the glue that hold the spirit and the physical together. And since she said that, I have just felt that to be so true because it really is that bridge between our higher consciousness, our source, and our physical self, which includes our thoughts. I think our thoughts are a little bit more in the vibration of the physical world. And when we move into the feelings, it's a beautiful bridge or glue. So I really want to make sure that we take some time to focus on that. And as we do that, I really want to emphasize that while we're talking about manifesting, and we've been thinking about imagining what we want, upgrading our beliefs so that we can be in alignment with it. I've mentioned before that it's not just about thoughts, right? If our thoughts created our reality in every moment, that not only would be chaotic, but it wouldn't be the truth of who we are and what we fully want, because our emotions and our spirit, or our source energy, is so essential to the full process. And it's that full alignment of all three of those frequencies together that really help us to attract the things that we desire in life. And with saying that, it's also important to remember that we are not just trying to manifest some idea that we have or imagine as the perfect future, whether that's the perfect home or the perfect relationship or the perfect career. Those are all aspects that we want to co-create in. We want to have a part of that. But really, the way to manifest your dream life is to reach a point where you're in harmony in every moment of your life. And when you're in harmony with your emotions and your thoughts and your soul energy, then life flows in absolute perfection for you in every moment. And the bigger picture falls into place with that alignment. So today we're going to focus on the emotions of the process. All right. When I say emotions, I am really talking about embracing the full spectrum of emotion. It is very easy for us to forget that that all emotions are beautiful because we can think out. A lot of times people say there's good emotions and bad emotions, and we should control the bad emotions. But when we really understand the power of emotion, we really begin to understand that every emotion is important, and that the more we embrace it, the more we can bring them into alignment with what we truly want. And they do help to navigate the path to manifesting the life that you desire. So we're going to think about this. We're not going to try to control our thoughts, because if we try to control our thoughts too much, then they tend to be out of alignment with us. And when we try to control our emotions, same thing happens. So it's important that we know the difference between denying thoughts or emotions that are coming into our mind and into our heart, versus attending to them. Conscious attentiveness is true with wisdom. That is when you bring your thoughts and your emotions into harmony with each other and you're willing to acknowledge all of them. And there's some intricacies to this because we're not wanting to go down the path of just being miserable all the time or having fearful thoughts all the time. We want to acknowledge that in the process of it. And when we're talking about emotions, they have a frequency that is even more powerful than thoughts. So think about this. Um, when you are worried or you're fearing something might happen, right? Doesn't even have to be happening. You're worried about how you're going to pay your bills, if your child is going to get home from school safely, whatever it is, the trip that you're going on, your body can actually respond to that imagining with emotion. Your heart rate can raise, your cortisol levels can increase, and you can have all the symptoms of anxiety or fear. And the fear, the flight, the fight or flight mode can hit you when there's no danger except for the perception of that in your mind. When we think about that, we realize just how powerful emotions are. That it's just even in the thoughts, the imagining of something, that it can raise the intensity. Same thing can happen with joy. When we're anticipating something from a place of joy, we may just like feel that bubbling up inside of us. We may be so excited, whether it happens or not, we're experiencing it in that moment, and our body believes it, feels it. And that is the frequency of emotion. And that frequency moves out into the universe and it attracts. Both of them are equally as potent, aren't they? But when we're going into the fear and we're really going down that tunnel, then we're drawing more of that energy to us. And our uh, thoughts and our feelings get all tied up in that. And it can have a powerful kind of avalanche effect. Same thing happens when we move into the joy and the love. We have that avalanche effect. Now, I know I just said there's no good emotions and there's no bad emotions. And then I described that to you, and you're probably thinking, seems to me like there's a right or wrong there, right? And I want to tell you a story about a time where I didn't even realize that I was not looking at my fears. And because I wasn't acknowledging, facing the fear, I was pushing down thoughts and I was pushing down emotions and I was willing myself so much. This is a time when my children were young, 2 and 4 years old, and I was very sick and on the verge of dying, actually. And I throughout these months, I was in and out of the hospital. I remember burning tobacco with my Haudenosaunee friends and ceremonies and prayers and visualizations and mantras. And I was doing everything to say, I don't want to die. I want to be here with my kids. I want to help my kids grow up. I want to live. I want to live. And nothing was changing. I was getting sicker and sicker, maybe a little wave of getting better and then getting sicker again. Now, one thing that I wasn't paying attention to, because I was actually working really hard at not dying, and through the whole process, I could actually see like the door of death next to me. That's what it looked like. It was an image, but I felt like if I look in this direction of my consciousness, even a little bit, that door is going to open and I'm going to walk right through it and I'm not going to be able to come back. And the more this went on and the more I realized I'm afraid, right? So even my manifesting was, even my intentions that I was putting out, they were about fear. right? I was afraid to leave my kids. I was afraid to have them grow up on their own. Those were the energies, not the beauty of divinity that is with us in every moment, not the imagery of watching my kids as they grew, or not even the focus of the love, even though I was loving them big during that time. Every time I was loving them, it was infused with a fear of having to leave them. So one night I said, I can't take this anymore. Maybe enough of my consciousness had become attentive that I was able to realize, oh, look, there's this door of death here haunting you and you're ignoring it. I think you should walk through it, see what happens, at least peek in, explore. Because if you're pushing against something with that much resistance, you can't draw in what you would like. So one night when I was alone, I lay down on the couch and I imagined myself walking through that door, and it was incredible. It was beautiful and soft and the most relaxed I had felt. And of course, it was more of a deep emotion, a deep meditation than me dying physically, but I was experiencing it. I was facing it. I felt the love, the oneness, that experience of wholeness. I didn't want to leave it. And that was probably another fear that I had. As I was facing this, is that there was maybe a part of me that did want the softness of divinity that people sometimes experience after death. And so as I lay in that space, just basking and finally feeling soft and relieved and gentle and loved and whole and beautiful, the phone rang. The physical phone rang and it brought me out of it. And I answered the phone, and the person said on the other line, God told me to call this. No, I think he used the word God. God or the divine told me to call this number right now. So I did. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. Because I was just kind of on the verge of death and you called me back. And I just said it. I didn't know this person. He didn't know me. He just made the phone call. Now I was off the couch and walking around, and this person was talking to me about this. And I was sharing my process with a stranger because I hadn't talked to the people in my life about it because I didn't want to admit the things I was feeling. So there is, to me, a beautiful expression of when we are really willing something, how important it is to tune inward, to be willing to experience all the emotions, the fear, the anger, the doubt, the joy, the hope, the peace, all of it in harmony with each other. And when we do that, the frequency aligned. When I was in that space, my frequency aligned, and the divine, the oneness, the universe, God was able to bring forth the energy. And I did end up healing very shortly after. One of the reasons was that I finally surrendered also. My energy shifted, and the doctor finally said, okay, let's do the operation we need to do that we were both pushing off. And so as I shifted, the possibilities, the opportunities came in more and allowed me to draw in all the support that I needed and to let go of the fear that I was trying to manifest with. So I wanted to give you that example as a way of helping you. It's maybe more extreme of example, but sometimes we remember those better because we have those in every moment. In every moment, we're making a choice on what we want to feel. And when we get comfortable with all of the emotions that we experience as humans, then we have the opportunity to navigate and to find our truth. And when we find our truth, we find that harmony that sends out the vibration, the frequency that attracts the things that will bring us the most joy and fulfillment and um, abundance in our life, abundance of everything, the people, the opportunities, and all of those things that will make us live our best lives. So I want to go into a little bit more of this after our break. We're going to kind of talk about some of the different emotions and how we can learn to love the whole spectrum so that we can live our truth and then draw that truth to us from the frequencies around us.
Life is full of moments. And when sickness breaks your momentum, from the 5 a.m. stomach bug, or stress and anxiety at work, don't forget you have Teladoc. Great care options by phone, video, or app. 24/7 access to doctors. And access to therapists 7 days a week. From anywhere you are. Day or night. Whatever it is, we're always ready to help. So you can get back to enjoying life's best moments faster. Life is good. Enjoy it well.
Visit a doctor today without even leaving your home. For as little as $19.95 per month for a family plan, you get access to board-certified physicians as often as you need it, and there's $0 for medical visits anytime, anywhere. Register now by visiting solivity.com/health perks. That's solivity.com/health perks.
All right. So now are you ready to really dive in emotions and explore how you can really learn to embrace them even more? So if you already have started to, the the more we embrace all of our emotions, the more vibrant our life becomes. I really truly believe that. And, I gave you an example of a pretty extreme time in my life when emotions were impacting my desire to manifest, because sometimes it's easier for us to see the big things, to see the very direct manifestation, right? Because in truth, we're manifesting every little tiny moment of our day, and those create the big ones. But the big ones help us to really understand the concept. But I want to take it down before we go into different emotions and explore them with you. I want to talk to you about the other extreme, very simple things that I do, because I really like playing with this concept and seeing how my feelings, my emotions, my thoughts, and then that frequency that I put out influences the world around me. And there's two things that are very, very simple and silly that I do quite frequently. There's one game that I play, a few of my friends. It's called the dice game. If you look it up online, it literally, you type in the dice game and it gives you the instructions. And this is a game where you're just rolling dice and you're trying to get certain numbers, fives and ones mostly, basically. And I will play that game. And what I will do when I play that game with someone else or just rolling it by myself is I will play with shifting my mood, my thoughts, and my attitude about it. And we have like evidence, right, that we can affect dice, that that's just random, right? But when I shift my energy to frustration, I really want to win, I don't want that person to win, or I start thinking about things that bug me in life or things that whatever, just the yuck feelings. Those, they're not bad. They're just yucky, right? They're just like, maybe I'm thinking, well, I'm not getting good enough numbers, whatever. I can literally watch the dice respond. And when I flip, because I do this just for fun, flip my attention to all the great things that I love in life, I I can't say all the time. There is randomness to this, of course, but very, very often I would say at least 80% of the time I watch it and then the dice start rolling things that I want. I do this with word search too. Those books where you look for words? I like to do that because I can watch my brain figure it out in the different components of my brain. Like, because it's like part of me knows and knows where to go, and the other part's observing. I do the observer self thing a lot. And how do I know to go find that word there? But same thing, if I get myself to thinking or feeling the more irritable energies and thoughts, I can't find the words. Move into loving harmony, feeling harmony with what's going on, being present in the moment. Word after word just is like appearing in front of me. Those are like tiny things, but when we practice looking at the little things, we realize, wow, we really are impacting that world around us, and our emotions impact the world around us. And those aren't emotions that are going to stick with me all day because I'm just dancing in them. And the reason I can dance into emotions that are maybe fear or anger, jealousy, sadness, joy, peace, hope, you know, all of those I can move in and out of because I took time, and I do take time to be careful, or to be, I'm sorry, to be comfortable with each of these emotions. So let's think about how we can look at some of the more uncomfortable ones to start with, and then we'll move into maybe some that you like more often, right? And the one thing is staying in the moment, right? Because if you're constantly just trying to stay in the emotions that you want, that you think are pleasant, you, you're not in the moment, because when something good is happening, you're trying to figure out how to keep it and how you can do the same thing in the future. And when something is uncomfortable happening, you're not in the moment because you're trying to get rid of it so you can get back to this. And so you're not really experiencing the emotion or the fullness of all the emotions in that space. So we talked about fear, my fear of not being there for my kids. One of the other fears that people have is, what if I create something wrong, right? What if I create something that isn't good? We have that genie and the three wishes where they always turn out terrible kind of story that makes us afraid that we're going to just create something that we don't want. And so we may be afraid to create anything. So we might think, oh, I want this, and I'm going to put some attention. I'm going to feel harmony with it. But what if it's bad? What if it's bad? And we push it away. That's one of the things that we experience frequently. Another thing that we do is that fear of our own power. Because I mentioned this before, deep inside, we believe that we are powerful. We know we are creators. We know who we are. And so we're afraid of that power that we have. So we're afraid that, yeah, I can create everything I want. And how will that feel if I do that? How will the people around me feel about that? And that energy, that fear, whatever it is, and it actually may not even be about the thing you're thinking about creating. It may just be fear that you're not willing to look at, acknowledge, experience, and allow your body to feel that. And if you're pushing that off, it's going to create a wall, and you're not going to be able to bring those energies towards you in the way that you desire. So just allowing yourself to get comfortable with fear, and maybe even sometimes you may want to just explore, well, what is the worst case scenario? And would it be that bad? How would I be okay? Reach a place where you can feel, okay, even if that happens, I could do this, this, or this. And just allow yourself to be in that for a moment and be grateful for that as part of our experience. And then anger. Anger is interesting because it comes into manifesting in various ways. It could be angry at source energy. Along my path, there were days, it fortunately hasn't been in a long time, but in my earlier days on this process, I had temper tantrums with the creator, with universe, like, and I get a little snarky once in a while, and still, or sometimes with the way humanity seems to be going, and to just realize that it's okay. And anger, when we place our attention on anger, it's passion. It's action. It's what allows us to transform things. And we need that. We need to have our voice and to claim what we want. Then there's jealousy. And this one is very common in manifesting issues, right? We may see someone who has what we think we want. And instead of being excited and like, wow, if they were able to achieve that, well, I can certainly achieve that. And I'm so happy they must really enjoy that because that's what I think would bring me joy. When we instead think, "Ugh, how come they got to get that? I worked so hard and here they just walked in and they took it." We don't know what they did, right? We don't know what they did to achieve or to get that. And we don't even know if it was what they wanted. But when we think of, oh, just that moment of sadness that we feel jealous in, then we kind of, again, we push it away because we're thinking of lack. We're not in alignment with abundance when we're in that space because there's abundance for everything. And then there is sadness and grieving. And we really need to grieve in order to allow ourselves to move through any sadness, to let us move to the next phase. And when I talk about grieving, I'm talking about grieving little things, right? Because if you're creating something new in life, you are leaving something behind. If you're creating a new house, you're leaving an old house behind, maybe. A new partnership, you may be leaving an old partnership. Or you may be grieving what you thought you were going to do in life, what you thought you wanted, now that you realize you want something different. And taking a moment to experience the sadness and the grief from all the little steps is essential. And when you open up to all of that, joy starts pouring in and hope starts pouring in. And that frequency allows you to bring in all the energies of the universe and support you in your manifesting. And we are going to talk more about that joy and all the power of it in a later show. But for now, just allow yourself to go in, feel those emotions, and embrace all of them, and watch how much more passion, joy, and abundance comes your way. It has been amazing spending this time with you, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. If you want to learn more about my work or consider taking the Consciously Awesome Adventure, a deep dive into manifesting and integrating all your levels of consciousness, that will begin on January 16th. And I will be back next week to speak about more brilliance and designing your perfect life.